Bhagavan's death experience at age of 16 made a sage out of an average schoolboy. That final experience, which he preferred to call self-realization, continued without any change, modulation, addition, or subtraction. Bhagavan Ramana was fortunate that he had no outer influences except his own introspective inner quest. Krishnamurti, perhaps, was less fortunate. Also born into a Brahmin family, he was discovered on the beach at Adyar by Bishop Ledbetter, and it was decided by the Theosophical Society and Dr. Annie Besant to bring up Krishnamurti and groom him into a world teacher. The boy's training included his being taken abroad and given the best of education. Everything was told to him. The one saving grace was that Nitya, his younger brother, whom he loved intensely, accompanied him wherever he was taken. In 1922, Krishnamurti underwent a series of inexplicable experiences of his own at Ojai, which was later termed the process. For 3 days, Krishnamurti's body was racked with pain. Nitya wrote to Mrs. Besant the details, saying, "He was unconscious a great deal of the time, cried out, could not bear to be touched, complained of pain in his head and neck, fainted, did not eat, shivered and yet complained of heat, was in agony most of the time, and strangely quiet for some time. And then on the 3rd day, he sat under a young pepper tree and started chanting, 'The Buddha, Lord Maitreya, and other celestial beings seemed to have appeared before him, and he went into a deep trance.'" Krishnamurti too gave his own account of this experience, which ended with the words, "I am God intoxicated." He was then 27 years old. However, this vitally important yet mysterious process did not change his outer life. His travels and talks continued as usual. So did the efforts to announce him as the world teacher. In 1925, his brother Nitya died. It brought about a great change in Krishnaji's life. Then, dramatically, at the age of 34, he renounced his position as leader of the Star of the East. The message he gave on that day in August 1929 to thousands of his admirers, including Mrs. Besant, is of the greatest importance to the spiritual community. He declared, "I maintain that truth is a pathless land, and you cannot approach it by any path whatsoever. I am concerning myself with only one essential thing, to set man free." From then until his passing in 1986 at age 100, his talks were aimed at shaking off his listeners' religious slumber and awakening them to reality. Krishnamurti's language was modern. For example, instead of Brahman, he used energy, choiceless awareness, or insight. Instead of sunya, he used silence, space. Instead of manas or ahankara, he used the brain, and so on. In fact, he made this logical explicit when he advised Dr. Adhikaram, who wanted to give talks on Krishnamurti and his teachings in Sri Lanka, saying, "Don't use a Sanskrit word. To use it is to bring to mind the ancient tradition and to sanction past comprehensions. A Sanskrit word will attach what you are saying to the remembered text. Tell it in your own way, in your own language, what you are seeing. Use modern Sinhalese words." A beginner in Krishnamurti's teaching is initially faced with 2 apparent hurdles. The first is his usage of unconventional terms, and the second, his denial of spiritual techniques, such as Guru and God. Puzzled by these, I voiced my concern to the mystic saint Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, also a great admirer of Krishnamurti. He listened attentively and with a beatific smile replied, Krishnaji is for the non-believers. Believers have any number of masters to follow. But for a genuine non-believer, what is the course? Hence, Krishnaji chose totally different terms acceptable to non-believers. After a pause, Yogiji added, I assure you, Krishnaji gives us the same essence as any of the great masters, but couched in different terminology. Having received this inspiring clarification from an incomparable Siddha Purusha, I plunged myself again into the reading of both Krishnamurti and the Maharshi. It was not surprising that I stumbled across a plethora of striking similarities, and it gladdened my heart. Krishnamurti's sayings and Bhagavan's sayings. Krishnamurti, things happen in their own course. Stop fretting. The Maharshi, whatever is destined to happen will happen. Do what you may to stop it. This is certain. The best course, therefore, is for one to be resigned in silence. Krishnamurti, the mind is cause and effect. It is caught in time. It has a beginning and an end. Mind can never experience that which is without cause, the timeless, that which has no beginning and no end. Maharshi, how is it possible for the mind to know the Lord who imparts his light to the mind and shines within the mind except by turning the mind inward and fixing it in the Lord?